gallon of rust remover can run past $100, or it can cost about $6. In independent testing, the expensive bottle didn't even score better on real automotive rust than several products selling for a fraction of the price. That gap between cost and results is why these 7 brands keep showing up in complaints from actual car owners, not in marketing copy. Number 1. Crude Cutter. Crude Cutter markets itself as industrial strength, tough enough for shop use and safe enough for a home garage. It shows up in nearly every rust remover roundup online, usually near the top. Some retailers price it over $100 a gallon, depending on the variant and where you buy it. On car forums, longtime owners have pointed out that it often ranks behind cheaper products in the exact same head-to-head tests. One commenter called out the ranking directly, asking why anyone would pay triple for a product that finished behind a $15 bottle. Independent testing doesn't actually show Crude Cutter performing worse on rust itself. On bare metal, it cuts corrosion about as well as the products beating it in price comparisons. So the complaint isn't really about how well it works. It's about value. A car owner working through a full restoration needs several bottles to get it through the job. And at that price, the total adds up fast. When a cheaper alternative scores just as well on the same panel, the markup gets harder to justify with every bottle you buy. For a one-off spot treatment, the price barely matters. For a full project, it's the difference between one purchase and a real dent in the budget. Number 2. EvapoRust. EvapoRust is water-based, acid-free, and marketed as gentle enough to leave paint and nearby hardware untouched. It's built for soaking small, removable parts, bolts, brackets, hinges, anything you can drop in a bucket or a bin. Used that way, it works close to as advertised, pulling rust off hardware overnight without touching the surrounding finish. The problem shows up when people reach for it on something it was never designed for, like a rusted wheel well or a frame section still bolted to the car. Testers who left it soaking overnight on heavily corroded steel panels found the surface barely changed, just slightly darker than before. That's not really a failure of the product. It's a mismatch between the job and the tool. Reportedly, several buyers left 1-star reviews after trying it on a fixed panel, not realizing the label was pointing them toward removable parts the whole time. Used the way it's intended on hardware you can actually submerge, EvapoRust holds up fine and does what it promises. Number 3. WD-40 Specialist Rust Release. Everyone recognizes the WD-40 name, and that familiarity is exactly why this product gets misjudged. Rust Release Penetrant is built to free seized fasteners, not dissolve heavy rust across a body panel. Some buyers see the brand and assume it's a general-purpose rust remover, even though the label describes it as a penetrant first. In testing, it worked well in tight spots. Hinges, bolts, small hardware, places a thicker gel or liquid can't reach. On anything larger, a fender, a rocker panel, an undercarriage section, it struggles because breaking a rusted bolt loose was never the same job as stripping a panel. Buyers expecting a full rust dissolver end up comparing it to a category it was never built to compete in. As a penetrant for stuck fasteners and squeaky hinges, though, it still earns a spot on the shelf. The complaint here isn't about performance so much as expectations set by a name people already trust for something else. Number 4. Starbrite Rust Stain Remover. Starbrite sits on shelves next to serious automotive rust treatments, and it gets marketed the same way, aimed at cars, boats, and anything with exposed metal. But it's primarily a rust stain remover popular in marine use, not a deep automotive dissolver built for heavy corrosion. Side-by-side testing shows it handles light stains, fine, small chrome spots, nuts and bolts, even fiberglass surfaces where a stronger acid could do damage. Push it toward real automotive corrosion, the kind eating into a wheel well or a frame rail, and it falls short of what a dedicated remover can do. That's a fair result, since the product was never marketed as heavy-duty in the first place. It's a solid addition to a detailing kit for keeping a clean finish, not a repair tool for a panel that's already rusted through. No sponsor paid for this list, so if breakdowns like this actually help before you buy, subscribing helps more of them find their way to you. Number 5. Naval Jelly. Naval Jelly has been sitting in garages for decades. It's cheap, easy to find at almost any hardware store, and it's phosphoric acid suspended in a gel thick enough to cling to vertical surfaces. Used correctly, it removes rust effectively, and it has decades of results behind it to prove it. The complaints trace back to two things: how messy the application gets and what happens right after you wipe it off. Several users report rust returning within days when the metal wasn't dried and protected immediately, a problem known in the industry as flash rust, not a flaw in the chemical itself. It also eats into paint on contact, so a single drip near a panel edge turns into its own repair job before you've even started on the rust. According to multiple garage forum threads, the product works exactly as promised on flat sheet metal with light surface rust. On wheels, cast parts, or anything with heavier corrosion, it needs real prep work before application and immediate follow-up after. Or the fix doesn't last. One user reportedly described it as effective but unforgiving, the kind of product that punishes anyone who treats it as a spray-and-forget solution. That description tracks with most of the complaints, which are less about the chemistry and more about the extra steps people skip. Number 6. Rust-Oleum Rust Dissolver Gel. Gel rust removers sound smart on paper. A thick formula that clings to a vertical door panel instead of running off like a thin liquid would. Rust-Oleum leans hard into that pitch, positioning the gel as ideal for doors, fenders, and anything upright where a liquid soak just isn't practical. The trade-off is depth. Gels generally don't penetrate as far into corroded metal as a full immersion soak, even though they easily work in spots where soaking apart isn't an option in the first place. But one longtime user who tested 3 different gel removers on real automotive parts said he preferred liquid immersion products across the board because none of the gels he tried matched the depth of a proper soak. That's one experienced opinion from one forum thread, not an established fact that holds for every gel on the market. Still, for anyone working a fender edge or a door skin, the trade-off between convenience and depth is worth knowing before spending the money on a gel instead of a soak-friendly liquid. Number 7. Ospho. Ospho has a loyal following among boat and truck owners who've used it for decades, some going back to jobs their fathers did on the same driveway. It converts red rust into a stable black coating using phosphoric acid, and plenty of longtime users vouch for it when it's applied correctly. Most of the complaints trace back to surface prep, not the chemical itself. Multiple users report primer refusing to stick properly to treated surfaces, even though the label says you can paint directly over it once it's dry. Others describe a tacky residue left behind on spots that weren't fully bare metal to start. A residue that resists normal cleaning and needs a solvent wipe before paint will hold it all. Reportedly, the users who skip that solvent step are the same ones showing up in reviews complaining about peeling paint months later. Without a paint or sealant layer on top, several owners say the treated rust creeps back within about 6 months, sometimes sooner in wet climates. Skip the prep step, and the product ends up blamed for a problem it didn't actually cause. Do the prep correctly, and it's one of the more consistent conversion coatings on this entire list. None of these 7 are useless. Most of them just get used for jobs they were never built for, and the complaints follow that mismatch instead of the product itself. If you've tried one of these on your own car, put which one in the comments and how long the fix actually held. Subscribe if you want the next brand breakdown before it hits your feed.